The Local Women Interior Design Podcast is brought to you by Bassetts, Northern Ireland's leading multi-award-winning bathroom, heating and tile specialist.
Hello and welcome to Local Women's Interiors Podcast. My name is Shenna Thompson and I am the lead designer at Shenna Thompson Design, interior design studio based in Buncrana in County Donegal. On this podcast, we talk about all things interiors, from the latest trends to hints and tips on renovating, building, or just revamping your home. And today I am joined by the very talented CJ McMeel from Katie Bleu. Welcome, CJ.
Hi, Shenna. It's lovely to be here today.
Well, for all of you who don't know Katie Bleu, but I'm sure most of you do, they are a family-run business based in Tunbridge, designing their own unique range of lighting and home furniture. They are renowned for elegance, luxury, and a design-led focus, and they are stocked throughout the UK and Ireland. CJ, welcome to the podcast. I am delighted to have you.
And it's delightful to be here.
CJ, maybe you could give us a little background on what led you to launching Katie Bleu and your passion for interiors and lighting and furniture.
So once I came out of university, I always had a owning to have my own brand, and I always wanted to design my own brand. It was always something I had in mind, and I started then, once I came into university, I started to design my first capsule collection, very, very small. And really it grew from there. And I always was into design, always loved houses, always loved interiors. Even growing up, I loved interiors. And it was really with that focus that drove the collection really to where it is now.
And where did the name Katie Bleu come from? Because I have clients who say to me, I love Katie Bleu, I love her things, I love her stuff. And I'm like, it's so fun. Like, it's got a personality nearly now to many clients. So where did the name come from?
So the name is actually from my grandmother. So my grandmother was called Katie, but she was known as Katie, one of the Blue Scullions. Okay. So in a particular area, there's like families of nicknames. So my grandmother was called one of the Blue Scullions. And whenever we came up with the name, I always wanted like a double barrel name. And it was actually my mum, to be honest, that came up with the actual pronunciation of it. And she helped me very much form that. And so we decided, because my grandmother was such an inspirational woman, she had 13 children, she was just an amazing, incredible woman. And we decided to name the collection after her. And we didn't want it blue. We didn't want it like Katie B-L-E or B-L-U-E. Yeah. We wanted it like bleu. Yeah. So we spelt it the French way. And it's pronounced Katie Bleu. So that's where the name came from.
I love that. I love that, being inspired by your grandmother. Yeah. And I was thinking today, when I was thinking about driving up the road, thinking about coming to talk to you today, and I was thinking, when did I meet CJ? And it's actually, I'm just remembering 8 years ago, I met you at a trade show in Dublin, and you were exhibiting at the trade show. Do you remember?
That's right.
And I remember I was drawn like a magpie to your stand, all the beautiful lighting, and it was just dazzling and gorgeous. And you told me about your range and that how much was coming and what you were designing, and show me imagery of things that weren't even there yet. And I was just, I was hooked, obviously. Yeah. And I suppose I know when I see a Katie Bleu piece, I'm like, yeah, I know it's yours. So can you describe for our audience who maybe isn't familiar with your range, what your signature style would be?
I would say we are quite quiet luxury, is what I would say. We are very much of the staples. We're very much designing for staple pieces that complement the home and that are kind of like a lifetime buy as such. It's not going to be throughout next week or the month after or next year, whatever. It's very much, you buy it once, it's a good solid piece, and you can always have it and you can move it throughout the home. And our pieces are very much that you can style it together as well. So every piece complements one another, really.
I definitely feel there is a story running through your range. Every piece could be styled together. Yeah. It definitely, as you say, even what you're saying, you could move your pieces around the home. Yes. I can see that. I could see a client having for years and years to come. It's timeless. Totally. But also modern. And it strikes that lovely balance, which is hard to achieve, but you kind of seem to nail it every season.
It's just to have something different and unique. And that's why I free sketch a lot of mine and send the prototypes across to my factories. They make up the prototype and then we take changes from there. And even with wood samples and color finishes, it's so important to get it right. So that's why we always design a prototype first, and then we work from that prototype and we make changes to it. We make it bigger, smaller, taller, whatever we need to do, we do it. And then it comes in as the final product.
Lovely, yeah, and I love to see actually because sometimes I get little peeks behind the scenes of what's coming, and you might be saying, "Oh, but there'll be a different liner in the shade, or the shade will be a different color," and I just love to get those little teasers, and even your time lapse videos of your hand drawn, sketches that are coming. I'm like, I can nearly see that coming to life before it arrives, so it's very interesting. So, CJ, with that in mind, you are in a sort of unique position compared to many other people in the industry because you're designing at least one season, probably 2-3 seasons ahead. So you know what's coming. You've got your eye on the emerging trends because you need to be ahead of it. So for our listeners, I'm sure they'd love to know what is coming in the next few seasons, not just for Katie Bleu, but home trends. What do you see as being strong?
There's a lot of wood, all different types. There's mahogany coming back, a lot of mahogany coming back actually, dark woods especially, and also light woods. There's a lot of what used to be painted furniture is now not. It's more like texturized woods, all different finishes. That's big at the minute. Bronzes are massive at the minute. Anything brass or bronze is huge. And you'll see that coming in with our own collections now, coming into autumn winter 26 or 25, sorry, and even spring summer 26. We're already designing for that now as well. So we have a lot of new lines, but it's mostly on the bronze and the brasses and the wood textures.
I see that very strong at the moment. We're definitely moving away from that era of upcycling and painting. That's definitely long gone, and I definitely feel, and you probably feel what you're saying about the brasses and so on, the warmer palette. We've been seeing that for a few seasons now, but that which is lovely. It's nice to see it, and it really does lend itself well to our climate. And as you're talking about autumn winter, and I know we're just enjoying the beautiful weather at the moment when we're recording this, but we have to think ahead, and our climate rarely is warm, so it's nice to see those warmer palettes coming through.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. And even like the linen tones as well, even in the shades as well. And, there's a lot of that terracotta coming back, and a lot of that rust coming back, and the warmer tones, the beiges and the taupes. That's very much what we're gearing towards going into this year because it's the popular tonal colours of the year. So yeah, we're really excited for what's to come.
Yeah, and I definitely see what you're saying about wood grains and stuff coming through. We're seeing a lot more woods, even from your beachy washed woods right through to, you say, your richer, deeper mahoganies. So if you were thinking of planning your interiors at the moment, that's definitely where you need to be heading into those, embracing the wood tones again.
That's right.
And embracing your warmer colours, and as you say, even those rusty orangey tones, we're definitely seeing that coming through.
The Local Women Interior Design podcast is brought to you by Bassetts, Northern Ireland's leading multi-award-winning bathroom, heating and tile specialist.
So I also want to touch on, what do you think are the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to styling or designing their home? What would you say is your pet peeves maybe?
There's quite a few I have, Sheena. I'm not going to lie. There's quite a few I have. Probably bad choices of lighting, bad positioning of lighting. I see this all the time. And people making the wrong choices in regards to sizing. That would be my pet peeves, I would have to say. It's just, I go into houses and sometimes I look at the ceiling and I'm like, that light is completely off center. Who put that there? That's not right. And also sizing as well. Like, you can go into some houses and they have a vaulted ceiling and they have this tooty wee light. And I'm like, oh my God, like.
Size and scale, it's something a lot of people do forget about. And maybe looking in a lighting showroom or a furniture showroom, a piece looks, ample sized in that setting, and then you get it home and either it's too big in your room or too small. And
that's why I always say leave it to the professionals. Like, leave it to the likes of you guys who are doing the jobs, the big jobs, and know what scale to put into them projects. And I think you can pay for that sort of thing. Do it once and do it right.
absolutely.
And That would be one of my, I have to say, that would be one of my pet peeves whenever I go into certain projects or houses or hotels or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, that's not right. That's not right.
It stands out to you. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Lighting is, and I know that historically is where kind of a lot of your roots came from, was in lighting, like your table lamps, your floor lamps were kind of your launch pad for your range. And so you definitely have a good, strong, grounding in lighting. So that mind, I think, lighting is one of those things can make or break a room. It really, really can. You can have everything else beautiful, but if it's not well lit, it's not lit properly. And even just for the functioning of a room, like if a kitchen doesn't have ample lighting, then you're not going to be able to see to prep food and, not be able to create that atmosphere for entertaining and so on and so forth.
It has a knock-on effect.
Yeah, so with that in mind, what would you sort of suggest people they need to bear in mind when they're coming to sort of choosing the lighting for different rooms at home, whether it's a kitchen, a bedroom?
Well, I would probably recommend from the offset, from like if they're doing a new build, get a lighting plan done, lighting and electrical plan. It's money well spent. It's the best money you'll probably spend because it's done right. And all your points will be in the right places. You'll have all your sockets in the right places to put your Christmas tree in the future. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And even like if they're going to do a garland somewhere, where are you going to plug that in at? You have to think about all these points of where you have, because once they're on the wall, they're on the wall. And you have to track walls and on replaster. So from the offset, electrical and lighting plans are an essentially important.
I do see that often in design practice that a lot of people, the electrician, it sort of comes quick on people, I think, when they're particularly building, or say even if you're extending or renovating, you get the footprint down, you get the brickwork, and the next thing is like, oh, the electrician's coming to do first fix. And we haven't thought about the lighting, and they haven't thought about the sockets and, the whole electrical plan. So I would agree with you. I think it's, even if you're not engaging a designer for anything else, it's worth engaging them for that alone.
Totally.
Yeah. Totally. From the outset.
So important.
Yeah, it really does make a big difference. So in the seasons to come from Katie Bleu, and I know anybody who follows you on social media will be getting some nice little tidbits of what's coming.
I'm trying not to let the whole thing go. I don't want to I'm literally holding it tight. So I'm always too scared. Ingrid, one of my main girls, Ingrid, she is always saying, don't be sharing too much. You're going to let the cat out of the bag too soon. But there's so much to come. It's so exciting. We have so many ranges, so many sketches that are coming to life. I probably would say the next brochure in August is one to be very excited about. We have got so many new ranges going into that. We're also going into an accessory line, which I'm super excited for. So that we can actually style all the furniture with our styling tools.
I think we were talking about that before we started recording, and I said, oh, CJ, I've been hearing little glimpses, and I was thinking, I think there's an accessories line coming. I think I can tell. I'm very excited to see what you have coming on that.
So we are so excited for that. And then coming on into the year, we will be releasing products throughout until December, because we have so much coming and so many prototypes being made that I think I'll do little launches every month.
You're giving me a little glimpse beforehand, and anybody that's looking at renovating, restyling, there's some exciting things coming from you before Christmas, so we're very excited to see that. Well, CJ, that was brilliant to get a chance to chat to you today and get a little insight into what the sort of the creative force behind your range. So thank you for joining us. Remember to keep an eye out for our next Interiors podcast. We will have another exciting guest and lots more hints and tips for you.
The Local Women Interior Design Podcast is brought to you by Bassetts, Northern Ireland's leading multi-award-winning bathroom, heating and tile specialist.